Welcome back to Cocktails with Kris. I'm Kris Kirby, your sommelier and beverage manager at Garden of Gods Club and Resort. And we're doing a Valentine's Day edition today with some dessert cocktails. We're going to cover a chocolate martini, and we're also going to cover an espresso martini for you to try at home if you'd like. And just something nice in celebration of Valentine's. Of course, everybody loves chocolates on Valentine's, and now you get to drink your chocolate too. An espresso for someone who wants something a little bit lighter and less sweet. Still going to have some sugar to it though, it is a dessert cocktail. So when we start out, I'm going to make our chocolate martini with Mozart chocolate liqueur. Isn't that beautiful? It looks like a little wrapped candy. This is a milk chocolate version of the Mozart liqueur. It's delicious. And it's got a really nice texture to it. I've also got Godiva white chocolate liqueur. I'm putting this into the cocktail to lighten it up just a little bit so it's not a really, really heavy chocolate cocktail. And then I'm also going to use vanilla vodka. This is Smirnoff, but you can certainly use any other vanilla vodka if you'd like, or you can use a regular vodka if you want to take away just a little bit of the sugar component to it. And then for our espresso martini, I'm going to use brewed espresso as well as the vanilla vodka. And then I'm going to use Kahlua coffee liqueur and just a little bit of white creme de cacao. This is going to add just a little bit of sweetness and just a little cocoa flavor to it. Cocoa butter, not chocolate cocoa. We are going to use a shaker tin for these cocktails because we want to get them nice and frothy and have a beautiful texture and foam to the top. So I'm going to take my shaker tin. I am going to add ice to my shaker tin at this point because I'm going to make the cocktail quickly. If you tend to be slow and meticulous, add the ice at the end, and that way you're not going to dilute your cocktail quite as much. So I'm going to fill this up with ice, and I'm going to take my vanilla vodka to start. I'm going to do 1.5 ounces of each of these in my chocolate martini. 1.5 ounces of my vanilla vodka right into that tin. And then I'm going to move on to my white chocolate liqueur. There are some other fun liqueurs that you could use in place of the white chocolate liqueur if you want to add a flavor to it. You could certainly make something like a chocolate raspberry martini, or you could do a chocolate coconut martini using different types of liqueur. 1.5 ounces of that. So this is clearly going to be a dessert forward, sugar forward cocktail. And then I'm going to add 1.5 ounces of my beautiful Mozart chocolate liqueur. You see that pouring out? It's almost like a thick hot chocolate, but in alcohol form. Add that to my cocktail. Obviously, this is going to have a beautiful chocolate color component to it as well. And I'm going to put my shaker lid on, make certain that it's nice and tight, and then shake it. I have a nice chilled cocktail because I've got a beautiful frosty outside of my tin. I'm now going to open this up. I've got a nice texture to my cocktail, and I'm going to use a Hawthorne strainer to strain that right into a coupe or a martini glass. You can use a Nick and Nora glass for this as well. And if you don't have those, put it into any cocktail glass that you've got. Just strain it out so you don't have pieces of ice. You can garnish this with chocolate shavings or cocoa powder if you'd like to add a little bit of cinnamon to have more of a spice component. You can certainly do that, but that's a beautiful chocolate martini. And go ahead and empty out my shaker tin so I'm not having it melt on my table. And I'm going to take a fresh shaker tin because I want you to see this espresso martini without the cream component to it. So again, I'm going to take a shaker tin for my espresso martini. I'm going to put ice into that shaker tin. Now I have brewed my espresso in advance and it has cooled to room temperature. If you're using hot espresso, I would suggest adding the ice to your tin after you've added all of the liquid ingredients. But since this is a nice room temperature example, I'm going to use my espresso 1 ounce using my jigger to measure. Again, you can adjust this recipe if you want a stronger coffee flavor, stronger vanilla, or stronger cocoa flavor to it as well. And then I'm going to add 1 ounce of my white creme de cacao. Measure that right into my tin. I'm going to take 1 ounce of my Kahlua. So it's got that really great coffee flavor. Now Kahlua is a coffee liqueur that's made with a rum base. Probably the most popular coffee liqueur that's out there. You could certainly use another brands if you have a preference. And then 1 ounce of my vanilla vodka. So while these are dessert cocktails, they certainly have a nice sweet component to them, and they are martini style cocktails, so they do have some punch as well. Don't get too excited and overdo it. When you get the martinis that have the sweets, they still can pack a punch at the end of the night. Let me get that lid nice and tight on my shaker tin and shake until chill. There, I've got my nice frosty outside. I'm going to open up my shaker tin. Again, I'm going to use a martini glass or a coupe or a Nick and Nora. Strain this off. And it's beautiful when you use real espresso, you also get this beautiful frothy top. I'm going to let you see that. So some really great texture. And you can finish this off again with cocoa powder or some cocoa shaped chocolate. You can also do some coffee beans on top, just to add a little bit more of a coffee component. I use 3 for health, wealth, and happiness. You can add cream to either of these cocktails if you prefer a creamier component to your cocktails. And you can certainly adjust the amounts of the ingredients to fit a flavor preference. But for Valentine's Day, we've got some beautiful sweet dessert cocktails for you, and happy Valentine's Day.